All right, well, we'll get going and give people, they can jump in, as we continue on. Um, this is the basics of SEO training, fundamentals that move the needle. Um, we have run this through Alignable for quite some time, in fact, and just kind of reopening it. I've gotten a lot of requests from folks, a lot of small business owners that wanted to see it again. It is on our YouTube channel, and we do a couple of these. We haven't done one in a while, so as we approach 2025 and going into the new year, we're going to do a lot of these. I think there's a series of six altogether that our copywriter has kind of put together. But we're going to start here at the basics. We'll talk a little bit. I think tomorrow night's is local SEO, and then we'll kind of dive into a few more advanced SEO trainings, semantic SEO, entity SEO, talk about tangential. So there's a lot to really cover, but the place to start is right here at the basics. So on our agenda tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about how search engines work. We'll do a little bit about keyword research, the three types of SEO, or the three fundamental types, on page, off page, technical, and we'll talk a little bit about how to measure success, and then we'll follow up with a Q&A session where I can answer your questions, and you're welcome to ask me anything about your personal website or whatever. All right, so about us. I'm Kevin Rhodes, for those of you who don't know, and I am the founder of Gadgetlesstech Digital Marketing. We got our start back in 2009. My professional life began in financial services. Worked on Wall Street in the fixed income sector for a little bit. Worked in real estate for a good long time, and also worked in the mortgage industry. And that's kind of where I had to make my exit in 2008. And that's how Gadgetlesstech was actually born. We started out as an e-commerce store, and we were importing consumer electronics. I had a tablet before the first iPad actually came out, and we did really well with those. Since then, from there to here, I've had the opportunity to work for several of the nation's largest digital marketing agencies. In my last role as a strategist, managing, upwards of nearly 400 clients of various sizes across the globe, which was really, really kind of fun. So now we're a small agency, just a handful of us, and the slide is a little bit old. We are nearing 60 clients across the US right now. And we serve a wide range of verticals. A lot of home services, a lot of professional services, medical services, software companies, entertainment, you name it. If you care to look on our website, on our work page, you will see some of the clients that we work with. I don't think that's been updated for quite some time, but all of those folks are still clients of ours. We have a pretty good retention rate around here because we deliver results. A large number of those clients that you will see are on page one for their primary keyword targets. So I'm going to teach you a little bit about how we actually got those clients on page one. Also on the website is a great case study that we just put out. One of our larger clients, which is Twin City Heating and Air, with 7 locations in Minnesota. We actually grew their organic traffic by 200% over a 6-month period. So, in an extremely, if you know anything about the HVAC industry, it's extremely competitive. So, kudos to my team, and yeah, if you're welcome to read that. We kind of list out how we went about doing that, some of the challenges they faced up front, and all that good stuff. Okay, let's get in. How search engines work, right? That's kind of the starting point. And search engines really work by using automated programs, and those programs are called bots or spiders, web crawlers, whatever you want to term them. And those crawlers or bots will go out there and identify a set of known and really highly authoritative web pages, right? And then they follow those links from those pages to actually discover new ones. So keep that in mind. So that, and most importantly, the highly authoritative web page portion, right? So they're going out there and from those web pages, they're discovering those links that link into those pages and link out from those pages and so on and so forth. This is a process that never really stops, right? So it's allowed search engines like Google to a very large number of web pages, right? Excuse me. For those who just joined, I am not feeling well, so you'll hear me coughing throughout. And forgive me. I'll try and do the best I can. I did take some cough medicine before I got started, just so that I wasn't hacking the whole way through. But yeah, so just to give you an idea, there are about 175 new websites created every minute. That equates to about 10,500 websites every hour and about 252,000 websites created each and every day. This does not account for the amount of pages and content that's actually being produced by things like generative AI, your Chat GPT, your Geminis, your Claudes, your all of these large language model programs that can essentially build you a website in literally minutes, right? So people are producing a lot of this throughout the year. Um, Google will make changes to its algorithm. So they've kind of spent this year really kind of targeting that because in, I want to say, early 2023, like January, February, sometime is when that whole Chat GPT thing came out. And people were doing incredible things with it to game the system. And so Google needed to change the way its algorithm worked and put a stop to it. So there was a huge update back in August, I believe it was, um, and something called a core update. So they'll do a core update. Sometimes they'll do a spam update, but the core update centers around the entire way that the algorithm works. And they built some stops into play, and a lot of people lost literally their livelihoods. Those folks who were kind of gaming the system and so on and so forth. But once those bots and spiders go out there and identify those pages, they're going to need to be indexed, right? So I kind of liken that to the Dewey Decimal System, right? That they have at the library, right? So a web page is made, Google finds it, they will categorize it, put it in its proper category, and then ultimately rank it. There are about 200 or so known ranking factors, right? So when a user goes out there and submits a search query, those factors are taken into consideration in literally milliseconds as to how those pages should actually be ranked in which order, right? So then Google will go ahead and display those search results. And again, that depending on how well those pages are optimized for search will determine how what we actually see when we perform a search, right? Who's in position one, who's in position two and three, and so on and so forth. So, but just know that Google is continuously refining that algorithm. So, as SEOs, right, we need to be aware of those changes. We need to do a lot of testing and get to see what's affecting the way that things rank. Are links more important? Is content more important? What type of content? Page structure, site architecture. There's really a lot to it. So SEO is really a science, and those of us who really know how to do it well have broken it down to a science. And like I told you early on, we've come up with a pretty proven and measurable and very much quantifiable system of doing this. And it's evolved over time, but the core way that we do it has always pretty much remained the same. So keyword research, right? So back in the day when I got started in this, you could take a web page, you could build it, you could um, say a keyword inside of that web page 100,000 times, and you would actually rank, right? The algorithm has become much smarter since then, so those sort of things don't work. Um, something to keep in the back of your mind, and we will be doing a training on this down the line, is semantics. Semantics are hugely important to SEO today, right? Semantic SEO. Entities and think of an entity as a noun, a person, a place, or a thing, right? Are really important. Not to say that keywords are not important. If it's not on your website, Google won't know that that's what you're actually going for. But we're putting far less importance on keywords as we are entities and semantics and context of actual keywords or phrases and these sort of things. So understand your audience, right? Who are we targeting, right? Who are we speaking to? Who's our ideal customer? Who's our ideal customer avatar, right? What are their needs? What are their preferences? What languages do they speak? What sort of sites do they visit, right? Are they more TikTok users, or are they Facebook users? Are they Instagram people, or do they like Snapchat or Twitter or Threads or whatever that might be? These things come into play ultimately when we begin to have all of our pieces of the puzzle together and we begin to move towards more off-page SEO. Right now, when we're talking about keyword research, it can apply to both. It can apply to on-page SEO, which would refer to your website, and then that off-page SEO, things that are not on your website, but speak about your business and your entity outside of your website on the World Wide Web. So we want to brainstorm a list of key phrases, key words, and we want to identify the intent of those keywords, right? That's probably the most important part. And this is where the laymen or people who don't really understand SEO so well get it wrong, right? And we'll talk a little bit more about that down a little bit later. But there are some tools that you guys will need up front. Some of them free, some of them paid, depending on your budget and what you have to spend. We can here at this agency, we literally spend thousands of dollars a month on various tools that we need to be able to perform our job here. One of the best free tools that you guys can go out there and get for keyword research is via Google AdWords, right? So you would go to ads.google.com, set up an account there. It's free to do. You can do it with a Gmail. The only caveat to that is that they require that you add a credit card so that you can get the full breadth of data, right? Once inside there, you'll be able to get information directly from Google. You'll be able to see keyword volume, keyword difficulty, and more importantly, if you're running pay-per-click campaigns, you can see what the cost per click is. That information can also be useful even if you're not running pay-per-click campaigns, because the price, if it's a keyword that's being heavily sought after, they tend to jack up the price. So those keywords will be really, really expensive, right? And more competitive sort of niches. So just to give you an idea, like to do something in the personal injury attorney space, those one click can cost you upwards of $150. So, just imagine how much money they're actually shelling out on pay-per-click ads. But you know what? If they get one case, they can win $250,000, half a million, $1 million, and so on and so forth. So it makes it well worth their while. Um, so jump on there. It's a great tool to use, and it's also free, right? Some of the other tools that we use here that are a little bit better are SEMrush. There's something called Ahrefs, Moz, and Majestic. Those are the four major tools that you'll see industry experts using. My personal favorite is SEMrush. Love that tool. I use it every day. If you want to, I think they offer a 14-day trial if you want to check it out. I think all those guys do. And I think on a monthly basis, it depends on a lot of them, I think, on usage, how often you're using it. But I think, as little as maybe $60 a month is what you can get a subscription to either one of those. The two industry favorites are SEMrush and Ahrefs. People love those two tools. The data will kind of vary between the two, but it all points you in the right direction. You will need one of these tools just because you'll need to be able to identify keyword intent, right? So this is important because you want to know what is the intent of the searcher, right? There's four main types of intent, right? There is informational, there's navigational, there's transactional, and there's commercial intent, right? Excuse me. So generally, when we're building a website, we will build it almost like a sales funnel, right? So we'll have all of our basic pages, our home page, our about page, our service pages, our contact page, and so on and so forth. Blog, things like that. So inside of that homepage where most people are going to land, it'll kind of be a mix of keyword targets, right? It's going to list both informational and navigational, and sprinkled in there will be some commercial and transactional sort of keywords, right? We don't really want to bombard people with transactional and commercial keywords because those have buyer intent. We haven't earned the right to ask that buyer or visitor to do business with us. So we want to be able to educate them, right? And that page is then going to educate, right? And that's where these navigational keywords will come into play, and people will click on links and images and things like that to sort of direct them to even more informational pages, right? That we would then find on our blog content, right? And that blogging content would educate that consumer, excuse me, or that consumer or potential consumer with even more information, and then lead them back to our service or product pages where we're then using more commercial keywords and transactional keywords, right? I hope that makes sense. But as you guys stick around and come back for more trainings, we'll show more and teach more. But that's just kind of how it works. You want to set up your web page like a sales funnel, and that the intent of those keywords is very, very important. So you'll want to end up with a tool like a SEMrush, Ahrefs, Moz, or Majestic, just for the sole purpose of being able to identify intent, which you would not be able to do through the Google Ads Keyword Planner tool. From there, you're going to want to analyze your keyword metrics, right? You want to ideally, if you're someone who's just starting out in this, you want to kind of stay away from those broad match keywords, right? Because plumber, roofer, doctor, things like that have already been cannibalized. It would be extremely difficult for you to get your website ranked for those very broad-based keywords out the gate. And you become very much frustrated. Even people who start SEO agencies, they go out there and they start that way, and they get very much frustrated, and they lose their clients, right? They can't keep their clients because they're unable to get those folks ranked for those sort of keywords. But there is a way to go about that. So we would look for long tail keywords, keywords that have three or more words attached to them, right? um, and more specific phrases, right? A big thing to do is using terminology where people are actually, and this is good for voice search, right? Asking questions or um, or using more long or using longer phrases, right? Where we're tying things together. Ideally, what we would do is we would go out there and our general rule of thumb when we're building out any sort of content, whether that be on page, which meaning on our website, or off page, is we're and especially and this is especially important for local businesses, um, keyword plus location plus brand name. So keep those three things in mind. Any variation of those three things is how we're sort of building our content. So keyword or key phrase, location, where that business is actually located, and that brand name or any variation of those three. So that would give you a bunch of different ways to sort of take your brand name, inject it or marry it with a specific keyword, or take that keyword and marry it with a specific location, and so on and so forth, or take all three and switch them around, and so on and so forth. And that works really, really well in terms of developing content and ensuring that your brand name is attached to those search queries, right, that relate to navigational, informational, transactional, and commercial keywords. And do your competitive analysis, right? So that's a big part of all of this is going out there, identify who's winning the race, right? And simply go ahead and reverse engineer that. So on page SEO, right? We've got all our keywords together. Now we're going to start building our content, right? And it's going to start right on our website, right? So the quality of content is hugely important, right? And the relevance, right? Relevance is a really, really big deal too, right? So we want to ensure that that content is valuable. We want to make sure it's informative, and we also want to make sure that it's highly relevant to the user's search query, right? So how do we do this? So um, I'm a digital marketing company, right? So I want to rank for digital marketing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by just doing a simple Google search, right? Digital marketing, Stamford, Connecticut. Okay, who's in the top three? Oh, wow, look at these guys. Okay, so let's look at their website, right? Hmm. First thing we're going to look at is that URL structure, right? Is digital marketing included in that URL? So that top search position, right? Is it, you know, digitalmarketingrus.com / digital marketing Stamford, Connecticut? Is that in that URL? Oh, I see that it is. Okay, so let's check the next result. Oh, these guys have it too. And that third one too. So what do we want to do? We also want to include that as well, because obviously this is something that Google is rewarding, right? So title tags, meta descriptions, these are terms that you guys may not know, but your title tag is nothing more than if you visit a blog page and you see um, uh, titles to various sections of those blogs. Those are going to be your title tags, right? So those are then broken down into hierarchy, right? So in building websites, you'll see something called an H1, which is the highest tag, right? And you can only have one of those, and that would be the most important term. So in this instance, we're talking about digital marketing. Somewhere in that title tag, we would need to mention digital marketing agency, company, service, whatever that might look like. And then all of those subsequent, your H1s, or I'm sorry, your H2s, your H3s, and so on and so forth, as they become less relevant, right? So we could think of them as like maybe subcategories, right? Inside of a page. For instance, like we're talking about SEO right now, right? We could, one of our H2 tags might be on page SEO. Another H2 tag might be off page SEO, technical SEO, and so on and so forth. So we want to structure that page. But, this shouldn't really be all that difficult because we can go and then perform a search, look at our competitors, see what Google's actually rewarding, and we can say, hey, okay, here is what the top three performers are actually doing. Here is the structure of their pages. Here the similarity in structure of those pages. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to reverse engineer that and do that for myself. Not plagiarize it, but we're going to follow that same structure. We're going to include the same keywords, phrases, and terms, right? Just in a different order. Maybe we add our brand name to it. Maybe we add our location to it, keyword plus brand plus location, and we modify it to suit our needs, right? So then we go and look and we say, okay, how many images do they have on a page? Okay, so they have 5 images. So what would happen, right, if I added 7 images, right? And each of those images should have something called an alt tag. So behind that image, right? And this goes for any website builder. I don't care if you're using Wix, Squarespace, WordPress, whatever that might be. There's a spot for you to be able to add an alt tag. And what that does is that tells Google what that image is all about, right? What is this image of? This image on the right hand side of the slide is an image of a computer screen that says SEO, very colorful, and it talks about content and creatives and how we share and dot, 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 right? So we want to give a very descriptive image, but most importantly, we want to ensure that that keyword is included in there. So somewhere there is relevancy uh, to that image, to what we're actually going in and actually targeting. Um, so that's how you optimize your images inside of a page. And then you would want to internally link your content together. This is probably one of the most underutilized strategies there is. Taking that content and tying it to another piece of content on your website, right? So if we're talking about on-page SEO, you would want to find somewhere where there's relevance on that page, that on-page SEO page, um, about off-page SEO, right? And we would highlight it, create a contextual link, and point that back to that page. Now it ties those two pages together. Those are two very relevant pages because they both talk about SEO, one about on-page, one about off-page, but we've now interlinked them together. What happens is that when Google comes and sends its bots, it visits that page, it reads all the content, it sees that there is now a link about off-page SEO. It's going to follow that link to that off-page SEO, and it's also going to identify that your website is also speaking about off-page SEO, and it builds authority, right? So now you're starting to show them that you're covering all of the various topics about your niche, right? And this can apply to anything. It doesn't have to necessarily be SEO. I don't care if you're a veterinarian. I don't care if you're a plumber. I don't care if you're a doctor or a personal injury attorney. It all applies. So you would just simply find things inside of your content where you can link to other relevant pages. And this helps to keep Googlebot on your website, and it gives them a very, very clear indication as to who you are, who you're looking to target, and what your website is all about, and most importantly, how well you cover it. And if you can cover it better than your competitor, right, that's what's going to help you to win the race. So back to that same thing about the page, right? So if we're looking at our competitors' pages, right, and we see again, they have 5 images, we add 7 to ours. Um, Maybe they don't have a video, right? Explaining what it is that we do. Ah, wow, that's great. So here's what we do. We go and we have someone create a video for us. We add that video to that page, right? Or even before we do that, we go and we identify another Google property, which is YouTube, which is the second largest search engine on the globe, right? And we post our video to YouTube, right? And Google, just so you know, is a super narcissist. They love nothing more than themselves, and they reward those that use their products, right? We take that video, we upload it to YouTube. We then take that video and embed it into our web page, right? And now we've created um, both an internal link and an external link from a source that Google trusts, which is their own, and it points back in. And that'll make a lot more sense as we go on in terms of building authority and all that good stuff for yourselves. And then there's something called schema markup, right? Um, if you use most people, I'm assuming, are WordPress users, and you can even use this with Wix and Squarespace. We build in WordPress here. You know, it's a far superior web builder. Gives you a lot of ability to be able to scale and all that good stuff. And we can go off into the weeds on that. But yeah, every builder out there has the ability to add some sort of schema or structured data to your website, right? So all this does is it gives additional context to your website. What is this page about? Oh, this is an FAQs page. This is a blog page. This is a service page, and so on and so forth. So you want to be making sure that you're adding schema to these pages. It can be quite difficult, but if you want to find out a little bit more, you can visit schema.org and see what that's really all about. And that could be a whole webinar in itself. But those who use it win. Those who don't know about it generally lose. Okay, so let's talk about off-page SEO. So we started out, we did our competitive research. We looked at our competitors. We got to see what site structure they've got, what site architecture, the type of content they're using, how many words they have on page, what is the keyword density of those web pages, how many times that keyword's actually mentioned divided by the amount of content or words that is on that page. We've added additional images. We've added a video. We're off to a great start. So now here's where the fun starts, is off-page SEO. We've done all the on-page that we can possibly do. We're ensuring that our page is fully optimized. Now we can move to doing off-page SEO. So all things considered equal, Google or any search engine has only one thing to really differentiate two web pages, right? And that is the number of links that are pointing into that website. And those are called backlinks, right? So a backlink is nothing more than or a vote of confidence from another website, right? And hopefully that website would be more authoritative than your own. This is where you really win, right? Is when you have sites that are far more authoritative than your own. They're super duper relevant to your industry and they point back to your website. And these things tend to be pretty expensive, and I'll explain that in a sec. Um, if you don't have the budget or you don't have the ability to actually acquire links that are highly authoritative, excuse me, um, you'll want to focus on relevancy, right? And that's where I don't want to say authority doesn't matter, but it's better to have highly author or highly relevant links over more highly authoritative links. So links or authority, an authority score, it's a metric that you're going to find in a lot of these tools, your SEMrush, your Ahref, your Maj, your Majestic. And generally it'll go from 0 to 100, right? So a local website, a small business website would generally be anywhere between 0 and I would say, depending on industry and location, as high as maybe like a 30, really and truly, right? Because it takes into account traffic, the number of links you have, and a bunch of different other variables. But those are the two main things. So what you would want to do is you want to go out there and you want to build back links to your website, right? Um, there are tons of places where you can go out there and actually have people do this for you. When I used to work in the agency world, and at my last agency, there was a team, literally a whole floor full of people that was their sole purpose each and every day, right? They were doing cold outreach to website owners, other agencies, and trying to acquire backlink sources, right? So they call it cold outreach. They'd reach out by email, they reach out by phone. And hey, Mr. Website Owner, we have, you know, a website. In your case, it would be I have a website, that where we produce blogging content, and that blogging content is very much similar to yours. Would you be interested in maybe doing a reciprocal link exchange? But 9 times out of 10, people are looking for money. And I can assure you that when I worked at my last agency, they were literally spending millions of dollars each and every year on backlinks, right? From very large sources, Forbes, the New York Times, Washington Post, HuffPost, big news outlets. So it's big, big business, the backlinking industry. Um, I'm going to give you a source. It's called ADSY, ADSY.com. Um, we use it here. It is a place where you can get links. And there are 3 ways on that particular site that you can get links. You can write your own content, look through their vast index of web pages that will allow you to post what is called a guest post, right? You can craft an article, have that article submitted on that website. You include your own links and you create your backlinks that point back to the content on your website. Shouldn't only go to your homepage, by the way. That's another kind of newbie mistake. But you want to build links to your internal pages as well. Um, and you'll build those links and you'll submit that article and those links will go back there. You can browse the ADSY network sites, look at those sites, look through the current content that is on those sites and say, hey, here is a great article about a topic that's very much relevant to my business. And here is a keyword that I am currently targeting that doesn't have a contextual link for it. So what I'm going to do, and when I speak of contextual links, it's simply just, I don't know if you guys can see this one. Sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Where you would take text. I don't know if you can see my cursor. Like, let's say, for instance, we wanted to highlight backlinks are links, right? And have that text be highlighted and link back to my website. What happens is that when Google bot comes and visits their website and sees this can excuse me contextual link on their website that points back to our website, it gives us sort of a vote of confidence from that particular site. Now, caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. You will need a tool like SEMrush, Moz, Ahrefs, or Majestic, right? Do your own homework. Adsy's pretty good at providing metrics and data for those links on their site. We always double, triple verify that information on there because we know that SEOs are smart. We know that SEOs know how to game the system. They know how to manipulate authority, all sorts of things. So we'll go and we'll take that link that we would like to acquire from that website, and we will put that link in one of those tools. We'll be able to see what type of authority score they have, whether they've received any penalties, what their real and true amount of traffic is that they're getting, and so on and so forth, right? Because inside of those tools, they have the ability to determine what is actually bot traffic from human traffic and so on and so forth. So just do your homework there. But we have found some real golden nuggets on there. Just to give you an idea, you can buy links from New York Times, very large news publications, right on down to small mom and pops. The most cost-effective way to acquire those links is usually by identifying a contextual link on a piece of content that is pre-existing, and just have them link out from it. But otherwise, I mean, they have writing services on Adsy too, where you can have articles produced. We've never done that. We have copywriters at our disposal, so we don't ever really worry about that. If we need an article, we can create it, and so on and so forth. Social media marketing, great way to reach audiences that would not typically come in contact with your business. So if you are blogging, which you should be, on a continual basis, right? You should be adding fresh and relevant content to your website at all times, right? Making sure that it's very much of quality, and that it provides value to the end user, right? Go out there, take that content, syndicate it or share it on social media, add hashtags. This will help people to identify your content, right? If you're a plumber and you're talking about broken pipes or whatever it might be, or slow drainage or whatever topics you need to talk about there, you'll want to hashtag those sort of things in there, right? People will find that content or other content that currently ranks on social media for those topics, click on those hashtags to further read, and your piece of content would have the ability to appear for them, right? Online reputation management is nothing more than a fancy way of saying review campaign, right? You should be continually seeking reviews, right? And always respond to them, whether good or bad. It's a great way for you to also be able to drop your keywords in there, right? Hey, Mr. Smith, thank you so much for using our quote emergency plumbing service, unquote, right? I just dropped a keyword in a review, in my response to a review, right? So now when Google recognizes and reads and sees and hears, they know everything. They now see that this keyword is in here. That we did a service job for Mr. Smith for emergency plumbing service, right? And just the same, if someone's leaving you a negative review, why not make the best of it, right? Drop your keyword in there. Hey, Mr. Smith, I'm so sorry you had a bad experience with our emergency plumbing service, right? And oftentimes, just so you know, we're active for not only ourselves but for clients as well. If you're getting reviews or you have gotten a review that's less than favorable, reach out to those people. Hey, Mr. Smith, why don't you unpack that for me? What happened? What was so bad about your experience with us? People just want what they want. You know what I mean? And if you can make some sort of concession for them to maybe update that, or even take it down if it needs to be taken down, go ahead and do that. People will oftentimes work with you in that respect. Influencer marketing, right? Another great way get your content in front of people who wouldn't typically see your content, right? A lot of micro influencers out there. If you jump on Instagram, let's say, right, and you were type in the search bar, promo, PROMO, do it uppercase, do it lowercase, add your keyword, plumber promo, whatever industry you're in, veterinary promo, whatever that might look like for you. Add your keyword to it, uppercase, lowercase, hashtag it, and you will find micro influencers that will share your content on their social media channels. Sometimes $50 a month. They've got 20,000 subscribers. You know, what a great way to get your products and services out in front of people who typically wouldn't come in contact with your stuff. And scan everything they have going on there. If you identify users that are highly engaged with their channel, hey, you know what? We produce similar type of content. Think you might find it useful and interesting. DM them. Oftentimes those people will get on your page too and say, hey, oh wow, this is really good stuff, and start engaging and stuff. And that's how you begin, excuse me, to grow your following on social media channels. We talked about guest blogging, content promotion. We talked about how to use the Adsy network to actually do that. If you Google search, what are some similar sites like Adsy? You'll see that there's a good number of them. That's just one that we use, but there are a lot of other similar sites too. They generally all have the same sort of links on there, some more than others, some better than others, but that's a pretty good one. And, you can find some pretty good links on there. So local SEO, most of us are small businesses. We target our local customers, right? So you want to be optimizing your content for local off page too. Your Google business profile in that instance will be your best friend. Once again, keyword, brand, location, any variants thereof, build your content there. One underutilized method for ranking your Google business profile, which is hugely important. So if you were to break down any particular search engine results page, generally at the top, you're going to have ads. Just below that, you're going to have generative AI. Just below that, you're going to have the local map or three pack section of search, right? Say that three times fast. I We've seen businesses go from nothing to something in a very short period of time just by capturing one of those three coveted spaces in the local three pack or map pack section of search. I can't stress enough. One way that you guys can get yourselves in there if you currently don't appear is to there is a section where you can share your content, and here's how we do it. I can't think of the exact name of what it's called, but it's a place you can post there for free. You can post there as frequently as you'd like. But we share blog content there for almost all of our clients. You go, you jump on, you put it in there. There are like 5 calls to action in there. Learn more, shop now, call now, book now, and one other. So it's on Google. It's another Google property. Remember, Google is the narcissist. Utilize it. Utilize it frequently, often as you can share content, you will grow in the rankings. And especially if you're in a marketplace where people are not utilizing it, you'll see it almost overnight. Your business will jump up in that three pack just because you're utilizing that. You'll get clicks, you'll get calls, you'll get emails, you'll get form fills, you'll get all of those things that you're looking for just by utilizing. And lastly, we're going to talk about technical SEO, and it is just that technical, right? So generally, again, we're WordPress builders here. So our framework that we use generally is taking care of a lot of the issues that we typically see when people come to us about their technical SEO issues. Is my website crawlable? That means are Google's bots and spiders able to crawl my website and see everything that it is that they typically need to see? There's something called a robot TXT file that, in most instances, for whatever reason, it is turned off and it does not allow Google to search a particular site and that's generally an easy fix. Website speed and performance is really important. And it shouldn't be just important for a ranking factor. It should be important because it is a valuable user experience, right? Nobody wants to go to a website today when we have, you know, incredible website speeds and have a page load slow and I can't navigate it around it easily like how I would like to. People have very short attention spans. We live in instant gratification world. People want what they want when they want it, and generally they want it right now. So make sure that your website is speedy and it performs well. Mobile friendliness. Generally today, almost every builder out there is able to produce a mobile-friendly website. But oftentimes you'll see sometimes things are unclickable, they're shifted to the right or to the left. The Google bot can also see that. They'll ding you for that. But more importantly, that's also a user experience sort of thing where you want to ensure that your people who are visiting your website are having a good experience on there. Website structure and URL optimization. We talked about that earlier on. Identifying URL structure of those competitors of yours that are currently winning the race, right? So we want to optimize for that. Looking at the structure of their websites, right, and seeing how people are able to navigate. Is there a form fill box as we enter it? Do they have social media at the top of the page where people might be clicking on and bouncing off and things like that? XML sitemap, it's just a list of all of your URLs, again, inside of Rank Math, Yoast, any of these programs inside of WordPress that you use for SEO. You can pull your XML sitemap to see all of your URLs, pages, posts, images, other sorts of media, and so on and so forth. But if you are having a difficult time, you can always visit xmlsitemap.org and drop your URL or domain name in there, and it will produce that for you. Analyze user behavior, right? So when we're going out there and we're tracking and seeing how things are performing outside of using a heat map, which you guys might not have access to, but there are some great ones out there. You might want to jot that term down, heat map. And that is a tool where you can drop your website domain or URL into a program and it will track every click that happens on your website. So you'll get to see how people are interacting with your website, what things they click on, whether, and we do this a lot with A/B testing. We'll move buttons and stuff around to see if right to left makes a difference, top to bottom, top to center, so on and so forth, just to see if that affects user behavior. But an easier way to maybe do that is to make sure that you are in fact using things like Google Analytics, and you can see how people are interacting with your web pages, how they got to your website, what they do after they get to your website, how many pages they click on, how long they stay, blah 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 blah, all that good stuff. And also using Google Analytics, you can track conversions and set up goals and stuff like that. So if your end goal is to have someone fill out a form or maybe on a mobile device, click the call, things like that, you can sort of track. And if you guys sell products on your website, whether or not they're adding to cart, whether or not they're checking out, whether or not they're abandoning cart after adding to cart and clicking on checkout, so on and so forth. And monitor your backlink profiles, right? Continually monitor them. They don't stay on forever, especially if they are low or links with low traffic or coming from low authority sources. 6 months, a year, you might see those things fall off. So you might want to build links to links, which is a whole nother webinar in itself. We can talk about tiered linking, structured and tiered linking. That's another term that you may want to jot down and Google in your free time. Um, and yeah, track your local SEO performance, which is pretty easy to do. If you sign up for your Google business profile, I think each and every month, they will send you a report that shows you how well you're or how not so well you're doing on on your Google business profile. And then continually optimize, right? A/B test, especially with your pages. Shuffle things around, clone your page, right? Duplicate it, swap things around, swap up the text, see how that plays part. Run this page for a month. Oh, wow. You know what? We were doing this. We tried this in this month. We've seen an increase of 15%. Hey, whoa, we might be onto something. Run that. Next month, it might do a little bit better. You tweak it again, it might do a little bit better, and so on and so forth. So you want to keep on utilizing and optimizing. And that's all that I have for you folks for tonight. I thank you for attending. I don't know. Oh, we're very close to the marks, 6:58 p.m. So I made it on time. I am going to open up the floor for you guys if you have any questions, if you want to come off mute. I always have a tough time with this. This covers my whole screen, so I can't really see how many people are actually here. And also your chat. Usually Bianca or Patrice or one of those guys are on, and I don't think they're on tonight with me. So I'm going it alone. But okay. So Sam says, Sam Hossein, I think we were chatting before we got going. It was a pleasure meeting you virtually. We help teams grow to AI, SEO that will help you win. We help you chat GPT. Awesome. Good stuff. So,
The,
yeah.
the comment I was going to make, you did a beautiful job. You didn't
Oh,
make any BSs in there. I'm a technical person. I come from a cybersecurity background, but you
okay.
did a beautiful job. You did
Yeah.
a fantastic job. Let's put it this way.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that. I've been around a long time. Um,
yeah.
and we tell it straight, man. We've developed and grown a really good agency here. We don't go around corners and don't, it is what it is. There's enough smoke and mirrors out there. You know what I mean?
Everything you said 100% was accurate.
Yeah,
Everything was just 100% accurate. You didn't BS at all.
yeah, we like to tell it straight. I worked in the agency world where and that's what really made me jump ship is that people they would take advantage of these guys, people who work so hard to grow these businesses and yeah, it was just real, real bad. But in any event, yeah, any questions that anybody has, I would I would happily answer them for you. If not, Bianca, her email address is here. She usually fields my calendar. So if you guys want to get on calendar, you can reach out to Bianca. If you want to reach out to me directly, you can get me on Alignable. And my email address is simply kevin@gadgetlesstech.com. Um, uh, and yeah, if you want to do an audit or whatnot, we do those for free. We don't really charge. I can spend like maybe 15 minutes with you at best to, have a peek at your website. It doesn't cost you anything. We're not looking to sell you anything, get you on board. It's of no obligation. We just like to help people out here. Trust me, we
Email,
have
just email Bianca. Is that what we do?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just
Okay.
email Bianca. You can email
Okay.
her. She'll get you on my calendar. And when she emails you back, inside of her signature is her phone contact as well.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Decent.
Excellent. Good meeting you. You as well.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Gail, yes, it was recorded, and I will typically, if you email Bianca, right, she can get you a copy. I usually try to get it up on YouTube. I haven't really been good at that, so your best bet to get a copy would definitely be to reach out to Bianca, and she'll shoot you off one. Zoom user. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I am sick. I'm in a bad way. I'm like 1,000 degrees right now. And I did my best. I took some cough syrup and stuff before I jumped on here. And I had been sleeping literally all day. I got up at like, I don't know, just like I mean half an hour before this. Uh, but yeah, again, feel free if you want to reach out to me. I'm my email's Kevin@gadgetlesstech.com. You can reach out to Bianca. She handles my calendar. She can get you on my calendar and get your calendar link and all that good stuff. If you want an audit or anything, she can run that for you, and then we can simply just talk about it. And again, I could probably share about 15 minutes with you or so. Anyway, I thank you guys all for attending. I think tomorrow nights we're going to talk about local SEO. And then next week we're going to fill the week. Um, uh, we're going to do basics. We're going to do local. We'll do semantic, and we'll do entity SEO. And I think that'll be like a 4-day series. Okay. But once again, thanks everyone for attending, and you have yourself a great night. We'll talk soon. Yeah, I'll add you, Sam, for sure. Have a great night. Be well.